Well, and good morning. It is a Thursday edition of the program. Terps Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Coming up today, Maryland getting ready to get back in action tonight at Ohio State. Catch up with the Wizard, Walt Williams. Talk to him about Maryland's turnaround, whether we should be at all nervous that they're just everybody's been telling them how good they are. And does that lead to them coming out flat against an Ohio State team that will certainly be inspired after they got pummeled at Maryland a few weeks back? We'll talk about that with Walt. Also coming up today, dramatic final pick segment of the year. So you didn't pull props? We're not doing anything with props?
I didn't have a side bet that was
really,
I mean, I did have props, but the only thing I could think of was
you gotta
do Gator and
what?
But like Gator's supposed to taste good, and I don't know where we get it.
Gator's not good.
I guess it's prepared correctly.
That's some nonsense that gets perpetuated. Gator's something that you try, and it's not awful by any stretch of imagination.
Not much of a punishment.
It exists. It exists. That's all it is. It's something that you go like the first time you go to New Orleans, you try a Gator to say that you tried Gator, but you didn't need to. Like, it's not gonna. You're not gonna finally find yourself saying like, oh man, I gotta get some Gator. No, it's a little chewy, It's fine. That's all it is. It's fine. You could have done better. I'm gonna call you out on this.
I mean, but
you're,
I'm
you're
not
the
as
young
creative.
person.
I'm not as creative as you.
You're the one on the internet. I've got.
There's nothing on the internet.
I deal with this all the time. We're getting ready for the start of Loyola Lacrosse season, and for years I've done these like silly cold opens for Loyola games. All of my pop culture references are 25 years old. I went to see Third Eye Blind the other night. None of these college kids have any idea what I'm talking about when I do pop culture references. So I say, like, I can't keep trying to write these silly cold opens because I'm thinking of things that happened in the year 2000. And whenever I threaten to do it, everybody else is like, no, you can't stop. You can't stop. They ask me to do more. Like I did a women's basketball game recently. They're like, you're not going to do a cold open? I'm like, no. I'm not. But if you guys want to start writing them about things that people under the age of 40 would know, then by all means write them and I'll read them. But my reference, I don't know. I watched Pop Culture Jeopardy the other night, hosted by Colin Jost.
Is it any good?
It's fine.
No?
It's just fine. There's a category that was like about memes or something, and like all of these people know these things, and I'm just like, I've never heard that in my life. Never in my life. I'm not aware. So I can't keep having to always be the one that's got to come up with these things. At some point, we got to be able to pass the buck. The young people have to take over at some point. At some point. God. I don't know what I'm angry about, but I'm angry.
I mean,
I'm angry.
Yeah, I mean, like what? Could
had
just made the loser make the loser drink pickle juice or something. I don't know. But it doesn't have
you got nothing.
Modern tie. Correct. I said that. That's what I said.
God. Also today, Eric Kolar's short stick D midi at the Maryland Lacrosse team. They're coming up to Loyola on Saturday. What's the latest on the weather on Saturday, by the way? What's going on with
I
that?
saw less snow than what we thought
a
day or two ago.
That would be good news. That would be good. I left early today because I was worried about the ice. Because, the schools are closed. Because why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't
there's ice on the roads. You want the kids getting hurt?
I tell you what's funny. When I walked out to my car, my driveway was I could barely lift my feet off the ground because it was a legit sheet of ice. And then I said, I'm glad I left early.
70% chance of snow. Snow accumulation's less than 1 inch now on Saturday.
Yeah, well, glad we moved the schedules. Glad we did that. Actually, it probably works out better for a few people, but hey. Anyway, so I decide to leave early because the schools are closed.
Smart.
So it
Smart. Good call.
must be treacherous out there. And in the driveway, I'm like, all right, I made the right call here. There's a good bit of ice. Like, this clearly was a problem. I understand it. I'm glad they made the smart decision. Like, then I get on a road, and there's no ice anywhere. Anywhere.
There's a little bit of ice.
No.
A little bit.
On the car. There was ice on the car.
And the ice was flying off the cars onto the road.
That what the problem
Dangerous.
was. Just closed schools. So I got in here, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll do Griffin's work then. Should have done the rest of Griffin's work.
We can still do the props for fun or something. I don't know.
For fun?
Yeah.
There is no fun. Fun?
How long do you think the anthem's going to be?
Fun? The hell do you think is supposed to be fun around here? Fun?
Talking football. Kind of fun sometimes.
Some nights I stay up cashing in my bad luck. That's the only fun I know. Some nights I call it a draw. Great song. All right. Anyway, I mentioned Eric Kolar. Eric Kolar's coming on. That's what's coming on up on the program today. Today's show is brought to you by the CIAA tournament. What's going on there?
Baltimore is welcoming the excitement of the Food Lion CIAA men's and women's basketball tournament back to CFG Bank Arena from February 25th through March 1st. Get your tickets now. They are available at Ticketmaster.com. Again, head over to Ticketmaster.com to get your tickets for the CIAA, the Food Line CIAA men's and women's basketball tournament at CFG Bank Arena, February 25th through March 1st.
A couple of notes from yesterday. Obviously, the big story in the NBA is that the Jimmy Butler deal is finally over, and I'm bummed.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the other big trade.
What other big trade?
Jonas Valanciunas on his way out of Washington.
That would require me to have known that Jonas Valanciunas was in Washington, which I did not.
Well, he was.
Every now and then, like, I don't know how.
More second-round picks.
Like, something related to the Wizards will snake into my timeline, and I'll be like, is that person a Wizard? It's like, who would know besides Bub Carrington, Bilal Coulibaly, Sarr, and Jordan Poole? Those are the names. Those are the Wizards I could tell you.
Well, that's pretty good. That's probably probably better than a lot of people.
Well, I guess Chris Middleton now.
Yeah, Chris Middleton.
I guess I could tell you now.
Wizards legend.
Chris Middleton is, or maybe a
Malcolm
Wizard.
Brogdon.
What?
We're basically the Washington Bucks now.
Is Malcolm Brogdon a Wizard?
Yeah, yeah.
Since when?
Since the start of the season.
Why?
Because
why would he be a Wizard?
They need somebody to lead.
There are so many things that you could be. Why would you choose to be a Wizard?
Well, I think you have to play a certain number of players. Like I guess all you need is 5
does
technically.
He play?
But yeah, he plays. When he's not hurt.
Good.
When he's not hurt.
He used to be a good player.
Yeah.
I want to say
he
was
rookie
an
of the
all-star
year.
at
I think he
one
was rookie of
point.
the year.
Was he rookie of the year?
Yeah, it was like a down year, but yeah, he was rookie of the year.
I mean, it would have had to have been. Anybody else that I would recognize? Anybody?
Probably. I'm sure there's somebody that you'd recognize.
Any of the other players?
Kyle Kuzma, no longer a Wizard.
Yeah, right. I know that he's no longer. I know that.
Maybe we hit
not a Wizard still.
No. Who? No.
Yeah. The guy that they drafted all those years ago.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm aware that he's not anymore. What about who was the guy that kissed his girlfriend and it got Ramos? Was that his name? Yeah, you don't know the Wizards like I know the Wizards.
Corey Kispert, of course.
Oh, Corey Kispert's a Wizard.
Yeah.
Did I know that Corey Kispert was a Wizard? I guess I knew that Corey Kispert was a Wizard.
I did not know until recently Rashawn Holmes is a Wizard.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
He played for the Knicks, I think, for a little bit.
But did he go to college?
I mean, I assume, yeah.
Well, no, they don't all do that anymore. A lot of them play for the G League in Ignite. Like my guy, Amen Thompson. He didn't go to college.
Bowling Green.
Oh, yeah, sure. Bowling Green, yeah. Him and the tight end.
By way of Moraine Valley Community College.
Oh, right. Right. They call that PGU, Point Guard U. I don't know.
I'm thinking of a different guy then. I don't know. He never played for the Knicks. This Rashawn.
Well, I'm sure. Is he related to Rupert Holmes?
Sadiq Bey.
Sadiq Bey. I'm aware of Sadiq
Yeah,
Bey's
he hasn't played any
existence.
minutes yet. He's just been.
Why is he a Wizard then?
I'm not sure, but he had they literally post an injury report, like every day.
And he's always on.
And he's always Sadiq Bey unavailable there.
How about that?
But he has not played a minute yet.
Anybody else?
Cassius Winston's on the Wizards.
I don't know what. Wait, the Michigan State Cassius Winston?
Yeah, he hasn't played this season, but
he was in the NBA. If I'm being honest,
he's in the organization.
And that's it. That's the whole. That's the whole crew.
Yeah, that is the whole crew. Marvin Bagley.
I didn't know that he was still in the NBA.
He hasn't played. He's been hurt, but yeah, he has played minutes for the Wizards this season. Marvin Bagley.
Now we know. Now we know these things.
Justin Champagny.
I don't know what that is.
Justin Champagny? You don't know Justin Champagny?
I have no
Was
idea.
he
I've never
Syracuse?
heard of Justin Champagny. Doesn't do anything.
I want to say Syracuse.
Did they win last night?
They did win.
Hey, 3 straight, baby.
Ridiculous.
Break them up.
Ridiculous.
Break them up.
Pitt.
Everything's
Justin
turning.
Champagny.
Oh, sure. Why not? Anyway, the big one, yes. Jimmy Butler gets dealt to the Warriors.
Kaishawn George, another one of the rookies that they had.
Oh, he was a good player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was Is he a good player in the NBA?
I mean, yeah, like he's not like playing as much as Sarr and the other guys, but yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, we spent way too much time. That's
Washington Wizards.
That's
basketball
dramatically
talk for you.
more time than has ever been warranted anywhere. Not certainly just here, but anywhere on the planet to discuss the Washington Wizards. Anyway, so Jimmy Butler goes to the Warriors, which is a bummer for me because I was obviously holding out hope that he would somehow become a Sun. And a couple of days ago, the reporting was that he's not going to go to the Warriors because he won't sign with the Warriors. But I don't know. Apparently, he was willing to sign a shorter deal. I'm very confused by what changed there. The other night when I was on the air, there was all of a sudden all this smoke, and it started with this is. I'm going to try to say this nicely. You all have decided that people that have a certain number of Twitter followers are allowed to be authorities. And the guy that does the podcast with Marlon Humphrey, who seems like a nice guy, I don't know his story. I think he's from here. I think he's a Ravens fan. I don't know how he became a Twitter person. He goes and travels around the football games. His name is Jack Settleman, I think. Seems like a nice guy. I got nothing negative to say about him other than to say he is not an authority. He's a guy on Twitter like you are. And with all due respect, Joe, if you started tweeting out about NBA trades, I wouldn't pretend that they mean something. And all of a sudden the other night on Twitter, this guy is tweeting out that Kevin Durant's going to the Warriors and Wiggins is going to the Heat and Butler's going to the Suns. And it gets all of this traction. But you know who wasn't tweeting anything about it? Anyone related to reporting about the NBA or the WNBA for what it's worth. Anyone that you would turn to. And I get that that's a shorter list now that Woj is ducked out of that room. Like, it's Shams and
kind of that's it.
Windy. Like, that's the list. But that's where you go in that moment. Is there anything at all to this? Well, if there is, probably those guys are going to have something to say about it. Probably. And when they don't, it's probably time to be a bit more skeptical. Not to me to pile on that guy. I really am not. I would in fact tell you that there was someone in a Durant circle that was trying to float that out there, when apparently Kevin Durant was never going to go back to Golden State. But we got to be – that's not on – I'm not mad at the guy. That guy seems like a nice guy. And it's not his job to get this stuff right. It doesn't really offer anything to just say things for the sake of saying them. But we are the ones that have to be able to say, right, well, that's not real. That's not a source. That's just a guy. We're in a weird place in our history where anybody can be anything, right? Like it's a weird time. But there is still some order to this, which doesn't mean that there hasn't every now and then been a random person who happened to know something on Twitter before other people did. It's happened, but it happens like 1 out of every 10,000. And certainly not at the rate that we remind everybody, well, you never know. Sometimes the girl that worked at the liquor store knew about an extension for Pat Mahomes before anybody else did because the Chiefs called her. That doesn't mean that we just start thinking that any random person has definitive information. I don't know why that bothers me either. Maybe I'm just still mad at Griffin about the picks thing.
Sure. Yeah, I guess.
Moral of the story being, Butler goes to the Warriors. It just seems like making a move for the sake of making a move. I cannot convince myself, and I love.
I mean, he's probably better than Andrew Wiggins, I guess.
Yeah,
but
like it's certainly playoff Jimmy Butler is better than Andrew Wiggins, but I cannot convince myself that he makes that a title contender in any way. I can't. I couldn't really do it with the Suns. I admitted it every time. I'm like, I just want to see it because I know it's not going to work as is. So shake it up somehow. In some perfect world, you get rid of Bradley Beal, you get Jimmy Butler, and it's a little bit better. But a little bit. It feels like making a move for the sake of making a move. Like they said, like Steph said at some point, hey, you guys are going to do something, right? Like somehow try to make this better. And they just felt like they had to do something. And this was the only something that they could do. But I can't convince myself that it changes anything about the West. Nor do I
make sure we'll get the Warriors at a minimum in a playing game. So that's good.
Yeah, I like watching Steph Curry play basketball. I do like that always, but
and more likely to get at least 4 more games out of them. You know,
what's that?
More likely to at least get 4 more games out of them after the play-in.
Potentially, yeah. There's a better chance of that, I guess. So that was the big news yesterday, and then Pete Alonso goes back to the Mets. So a 2-year deal. It's just nice that it's what you like most about this offseason is how the teams in the smaller markets have been the ones that have been able to make some noise. It's just really nice to see, like the Mets and the Dodgers, those being those smaller market teams being the ones that are really able to step up and
LA's deserved something like this for a while.
Well, I mean that's a different conversation. This one was the Mets, but I get it.
Well, I mean, yeah. New York.
Whatever. Pete Alonso was never going to be an Oriole, so I'm not really disappointed about this the way that I was disappointed every time a pitcher would sign. Like there was no world in which Pete Alonso was coming here, but and certainly I'd rather have Pete Alonso with the Mets than with the Blue Jays, which was one of the places that you thought was viable at some point. But those are the big ones from yesterday. That's the big news, the one trade. The trade deadline is today at 3 o'clock in the NBA, so we'll see. I don't even know what else could be on the table, but to be fair, we didn't know that Luka Doncic was on the table. So
Luka Doncic got traded?
Yeah, believe it or not. So I don't know what else could possibly be coming between now and then. The Jimmy Butler piece felt like it was the one domino that had to fall. It does fall, so there's that, and we move on. We will see if anything else occurs today. I was trying to feel like there was anything else. I think that was it as far as news was concerned from yesterday. I think that was the story. Was there something in the NFL? I feel like there might have been something in the NFL. Well, tonight, of course, is the NFL honors, so we'll learn about the Hall of Fame class. The only thing I can tell you,
maybe we'll get MVP as well. That's big.
What's
that? MVP as well.
Yeah, we will learn MVP. It's the NFL is weird. Like they do. The AP Rookie of the Year is the Rookie of the Year award.
By the way, Jackie Sources did confirm Lamar's going to win the MVP as well today.
Who?
Jackie Sources.
Who's Jackie Sources?
That's Jack Settleman. That's what he calls himself.
Okay, we're not. I know he seems like a nice guy, but we're not giving him attention.
Okay,
we're just not. All right, we're not doing.
Says he knows comeback player of the year too.
I don't stop,
okay.
And I'm not trying to be a dick, but like we're not going to make it a bit either.
Okay,
like he's not someone that's. And what I'm really going to do is say the opposite. When you try to scam people, it's not funny. It's not. Like, it's not. You don't get rewarded for that. This is one of the big problems I have with the internet now, is that, like, douchebags are just like, he got him, right? Like, we're not going to reward that. I don't hate the guy, but he's not going to get any attention unless he offers something, right? Like, I don't know what he offers. But if he offers, this is the thing we do, is we give people attention just for being loud. Is it good? Are they right? So what do they offer exactly? Well, they're loud. And that can be for you in your personal life and whatever. I'm not here to judge, but we're not going to do that. Like, I'm not trying to be. Again, this is not me saying he's evil or I hate the guy, but we just don't give him attention. Like, there's nothing about him that has warranted any attention. That's it. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's do picks.
Okay.
It sounds like I'm going war on somebody. I'm not. It's just this is the way that we do things. You have to have something to offer in order to get attention. Ken Zalis has something to offer. Ken Zalis has lots to offer. Not a championship in picks. He doesn't have that to offer because he just picked all the games the same way, jerk. But he has something to offer, and he's with us this morning here on GCR. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I get annoyed by things, and I can't hide it. I get annoyed.
Well,
I'm
like
41. Yeah, this is the rest of my life. I know.
Goes away,
yeah, no. It gets worse.
As you get older,
yeah,
it's worse.
Yeah, it gets even. And if I'm already here at 41,
I know. It just gets worse.
I can't even imagine what it's going to look like in the coming years. It is always hilarious to me when we decide to give. This has been the newest thing, and I don't know if I remember I liked Tom Green a lot, but Tom Green was funny. He was funny. He did something. I look back on things that I was into as a kid, and I'm like, was that embarrassing? Should I be ashamed that I was into it? Like, I have a rule that I won't go back and rewatch Billy Madison because I don't want to know if Billy Madison actually sucked, right? Like, I think it was funny, but Adam Sandler made so many terrible, dreadful, awful, unwatchable movies after that I won't go back and rewatch it. So I've tried to figure out, like, what I was into in my 20s that now if I look back on it, I'd be like, oh, God, why did I think that was a thing? Like, why did I think that was cool? And I can't think of anything like this, but this thing on the internet where people offer nothing, but yet they're loud and they tweet a lot, and so we just give them attention for it, is the weirdest bit. I don't know what that is.
But it's the Stephen A. Smithing of the world.
I actually think that he has something to offer.
No, I don't.
I can't believe I'm about to say this.
No, he does. He does.
It's not.
It's
it's not on his TV show because his TV show is god awful. But I think he has something to offer. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's going to be the next president of the United
States.
States.
That's what I hear, right? Like
I hear.
You working to draft him? You working to get him to throw his name in the mix?
You know what? So many moons ago, there was I worked on a campaign for governor for Jerry Springer, long time ago.
Is this was this in Ohio?
Yeah, he ran for governor, and he was considering running for governor. And
because he had been mayor of Cincinnati.
He had been mayor, right. He had held a couple of public offices.
Yeah.
And we did this whole thing, and we found out if it was viable for him to run for governor, and it was viable for him to run the governor, but he had to stop his TV show.
I mean,
and he was not willing at that time.
Well, to be fair, that thing was
I know.
We did the
he was not willing to stop his TV show at the time.
Don't blame him. Don't blame him.
But the work we did was fun. So I just think that the work I would do with Stephen A. Smith would just be highly entertaining in my work.
Yeah, but it not again. This goes back to I feel sorry for the country, but it's great content situation. I just can't. I can't get on board.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
There's one, by the way. I'll stand by Tom Green, but I won't stand by Jerry Springer. As a kid, I watched Jerry Springer. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. It was. Dreck.
Did you watch the documentary?
That's why it came up because we watched the documentary for book club, and it reminded me of how embarrassing it was that was something that
awful.
I cannot defend in any way. There's nothing defensible about it, like even a little bit. It was awful, and yet we as a country, oh boy, did we eat it up. We ate that nonsense
it was the
up
most popular thing
by far. All right, what's going on in your world these days?
Not a darn thing. I'm tired of the snow. It's ruining my other job.
This isn't snow. It's rain.
Yeah, but school's closed.
I know.
Many of them.
I'm quite aware.
Not mine. But it caused havoc with the end of our winter schedule.
You had to. Other
than that, nothing.
Games. Yeah.
Almost softball season.
God, well, it's hard to believe that because I look outside. But yeah, you're right. That's I got lacrosse this weekend. It's my first weekend of lacrosse.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my world.
NCAA's 3 games in.
So here's the deal. We got one pick left to make, obviously, and it only matters for 2 of us. For everybody else, it's an exhibition. James Revere came in like that Jaguars lady and stole the show. Came in, just said, I'm the new guy. I'm winning the whole damn thing. James Revere, 102-79. Irrelevant what happens this week. He is the champion. He gets the cash, and maybe we throw him right back out of the league. We say we can't have anyone come in and
he's allowed to leave the league.
Steal this show. That is true. That is the rule. You win the league. I guess potentially Jon Proctor or I could end up leaving the league if we wanted to, based on what happens. But James Revere, the champion of the league. KZ will finish in second place. Second place for KZ this year, no matter what happens this weekend. John in Little Rock, Griffin and Jeremy Kahn are battling for the podium, for the chance to get the bronze medal that we do not give for the third place finisher in this league.
They're going down.
Sure. And then there's a big separation from the top 5. There's the top 5. We're all bunched up somewhat. And then after that, Kyle, Ryan, of course, who is the real story. And if he had a hair on his ass, he would come in and pay some punishment as well, because Ryan was running away at one point with the league, only to find himself currently sitting in 7th, 13 games back. It is as spectacular a fall from grace as we have ever seen in this league. And frankly, I was going to make a joke, but I'm going to choose not to make that joke whatsoever. I was trying to think of people that have fallen from grace, and then I said, nope, not that one.
We all know the joke.
Not doing that. Not doing
well.
that. Nope. Joe Serpico. Shut up. Joe Serpico, Andrew Stecca, Paul Valley. Paul Valley did avoid having this weekend matter by 1 game. He is safe. So that brings us to the bottom of the table. And after I picked Washington in the NFC Championship game, because I had danced with them all playoffs long. I wanted to keep dancing with them, but it failed me. I am 1 game behind Jon Proctor going into the Super Bowl. So the way this works is that if I pick the Super Bowl the same way as Jon Proctor, it's over. It's over, Jack. I'm boned. And I will be eating a sardine fruitcake.
Yum. It's cake.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Singing Rio and Copacabana, which would be the pleasant part of all of this. Getting a Brazilian.
Nice.
And somehow
you could
trying
use it,
to.
probably.
Probably could. Mrs. Clark might be very excited about that. And also getting strikes from John Rollo. So, yay!
Nice.
Yay, got that going.
What could Andrew Stecca offer you for? Like, could he trade you
in order to get out? Like, if he said now, I'll do all of that. I don't know if the rest of the boys would allow that. That's the problem. Like, that would have to be up. We would have to put that. We would have to put it to a group vote, and we can't even get the group to turn their picks in.
We would have to add one more thing to it or something.
I told Griffin that we needed to do a side bet with prop bets, and then he just didn't have one. He was like, I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, great, we can't do it. We can't. This league. What happened to this league I love? What happened to us?
Couldn't think of anything.
God,
it's a slow week.
It's not a slow week. You're just anyway. Moral of the story being, that's what's at stake. If I pick the game the same way, then nothing else matters. If I pick the game differently, then I am alive for 3 more days. The game will matter, and then if my pick wins, then we will go to the points. We go to the judges' scorecards. That's where we go. And whoever picks the higher number gets that number and above. Whoever picks the lower number gets that number and below. That's the way that it works. So you have points from John.
I do.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have points from John. Now, let's go ahead and find out how everybody else picked, because it doesn't I guess I'll write. I don't want to be influenced by anybody else's.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can't be influenced by anybody else's picks. Yeah, I can't be influenced by
I'm just not going to read John's.
Right. KZ, go ahead.
In the only pick I've made this year, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take the Eagles, and I I assume, what's it, 1.5 we're getting with the Eagles?
Yes, you're getting 1.5.
Again, they're the best team I saw play the Ravens this year, on both sides of the ball, most complete team. I'm just going to go with the best team because I'm getting points. I think it's a no-brainer bet, if we were betting this. So I'll take the Eagles and see where it goes. I think it's the only thing that stops the Eagles is if they turn the ball over.
I mean, like the Eagles probably were the best team that played the Ravens this season. But the Chiefs don't lose; they find ways to win no matter what. And I've been pretty. I'm not sure I picked against the Chiefs at all this entire year. I feel like I maybe picked the Ravens in week 1. So that was the only time I picked against the Chiefs. I mean, and they don't cover every game, but this is only 1.5 here, and we're essentially trying to pick the winner. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be 3 points, and one way or the other. And I think the Chiefs have the edge in every single one-possession game. So I will take the Chiefs and lay 1.5 here. I think it's like 26-23 is more or less what I think the final score will be, or 23-20, something like that. But yeah, I got the Chiefs. I am not alone on Kansas City. Andrew Stecca will be taking the Kansas City Chiefs. John in Little Rock is taking the Kansas City Chiefs, as is Kyle Ottenheimer on the Kansas City Chiefs. KZ not alone on the Eagles, of course, because our champion, James Revere, will be on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Like 8 picks in a row, he and I. Straight.
Yeah, way to go.
Way to make his
way to mix it up there at the end.
Jeremy Kahn is on the Philadelphia Eagles. That is where he is betting. Joe Serpico, of course.
You know, that's actually quite weird because the public is heavy on the Eagles.
Are they?
That's really weird. Anyway.
Joe Serpico, of course, sent me. He didn't make a pick. Actually, he just said "Go Birds." Is what he said back to me. So he's on the Eagles. So Kyle's on the Chiefs. Paul and Ryan Chell both on Philly as well.
We may need to check on Serpico if the Eagles lose.
Oh God, that poor guy.
He's had a week.
What's he doing? Like
just on social media.
Oh, he's got to get a hold of yourself, Joe.
Calm down, my brother. Come on,
get a hold of yourself. I told Griffin leading into the championship weekend, I said, I pray to God that I'm not behind, because as mental warfare goes, trying to figure out Jon Proctor is hell. Now, I've been friends with the man for 20-some years now. I think we were in college when we met. So this is a lot for me, because it's totally possible that he's just made his pick. It's possible that he's just said, this is what I think is happening in this game, so I'm going to make the pick that I think is correct. But it's also possible, knowing John, that he is playing a game of 4D chess. Because he's like that. And he could be, this is what I think Len's doing, so I'm going to pick it the same way just so that the game doesn't matter. We get it over with. Then it's possible that he thinks that I think that he's doing that, so he picks it the opposite way. I mean, this is the scene in Princess Bride where the poison, right? Like, that's what I want you to think. And I don't have the antidote for the poison.
I would call that inconceivable. With that,
inconceivable. Who is that actor? Is that Wallace Shawn? Is that it? What is the actor's name? He's so great. He was in Clueless. I don't remember what else he was in. Never get into a land war with. God damn that. Love the Princess Bride. All right. Anyway, I've said all along.
For the young people in the crowd, if you've never watched that movie, you have to
watch it immediately.
It's
one of the greatest motion pictures of all time. It's not for. It wouldn't be a movie review movie. Okay. It's not a comedy. It's not a. It's just a. What there is.
Everything.
There is comedy. There is a fair amount of comedy.
It is. It's everything.
There's Andre the Giant. It's everything that you could ask for in a film. It's beautiful. I've said all along that Kansas City was my pick. I that wasn't me blustering or trying to like put that on a hook for Jon Proctor to bite. Like that's I'm with Griffin. If Kansas City's playing in a big game, I just assume Kansas City's going to win the game. The 1.5. It's totally, because this is the funny thing about Kansas City. They don't care. If they win by 1 point, that's all they care about. So it's totally plausible that they could win,
Right.
and it could still fall within. Unlike a lot of teams where you're like, well, if things go their way, Kansas City will play to win by 1 point. They will play. They'll start thinking about it. Like, if we just do this,
They will win 15-14.
then we can sit on That's who they are. So that's part of the trouble here. The public is really heavy on Philadelphia in this. Like, really, it stunned me how heavy.
Hate Kansas City.
I don't know what to make of that. 68% of all bets on Philadelphia. 79% of the money.
Wow.
Is on Philadelphia. Oddly, the money line itself, people are really playing the points, which is crazy considering there's almost no points involved. The money line is actually 54% of the bets on Kansas City, 46% on Philadelphia. But for the money line, 66% of the money is on Philadelphia, while 34% is on Kansas City. So I'm just dragging my heels because I don't know what I'm about to say. I have no idea. I'm just trying to keep this going for as long as I can, because every moment that I keep talking, I'm not dead yet, and I don't have to think about the fact that I got to get a Brazilian. Somehow that's the part, not even the part where I'm going to get my ass kicked by John Rollo. Like, that part I've just sort of made peace with. Whatever. I've been kicked and punched by John Jones. I mean, like, for Christ's sakes. The Brazilian.
John Rollo's going to start training again for this.
I don't think John Rollo stopped training, Griffin.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's continued to do that.
He's going to ramp it up a little bit.
There's like the public being on Philadelphia is so fascinating to me. I'm talking myself into the idea that oh, God damn it. Ken, didn't you
ask him?
Didn't you? Yeah, right. Dear God. Did you have anything else you wanted to say that I could drag this out any further? You have anything else going on in your world?
KZ, how long do you think the anthem's going to be?
2 minutes and 6 seconds.
All right, so he'll take the over.
What's the number?
Is it
again?
120.5?
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah.
Who's singing it?
That's not a great.
John Batiste.
Okay, I'm. You got to give me more. What kind of artist?
You don't know John Batiste? He led the band on the Colbert Show for years. He won Best Album at the Grammys a couple years ago. He's like jazz R&B, but it's a little more experimental.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I'll stick with over then.
All right.
A little bit experimenting.
I don't know that he's going to drag notes.
I don't know. Yeah, but he could like have like a trumpet solo.
In recent history, the books have been pretty close at predicting the line. However, I think it's gone over like 4 straight years.
Wasn't last year very controversial?
Yeah, because Reba went quick.
Well, there also, what was the year where there was like there was
like a last note?
Yeah,
or something.
there was like she sang the note twice or something like that.
Yeah,
right.
It was
free, something like that.
How come I can't see you guys today?
You can't see it?
No, it's not my area.
I'm asking.
I
mean,
there you go.
that's never a bad thing. There you go. Oh.
Sorry, my bad. I thought I fixed it right away.
All right, I'm gonna write down here just to drag out the drama. I'm writing down my pick. Now you tell me how Proctor picked.
Jon Proctor. He picked the team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Christ.
Representing the conference from
Would you just
the NFC. He picked the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank God.
He picked the Philadelphia Eagles. Uh-oh. Glenn picked, does that say PHI?
Certainly does not.
It says KC.
God. So now you got to do the.
All right, now we got to pick the points. Crap, I didn't even prepare that. Damn it.
You got to pick the points.
All right,
now.
you have his points.
I do have his points. I wrote his down too. So if would it be better if you say yours and then I flip his around, or?
I mean, I don't want to influence you, but this isn't hard, Glenn.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, just pick the exact number.
Yeah,
of
right.
points
Just get the number
score.
right, and we're good. Here.
No,
What are we
I'm
talking
just
about?
saying because based on you.
My guess is somewhere.
I mean,
between
based
1
on
and
who you pick, there's only one type of game they're winning.
I disagree with that. I disagree that there's only one type of game that they're winning. I
Okay.
know what you think you're saying. I do, but I disagree with that. I think that they're the type of team that whatever happens, they can figure it out.
Fair.
I think what Ken's saying is if it's Kansas City, it's a lower scoring game. It's that they keep it in check and that was my thought process. But how low can you go?
Right.
27 points.
What's the total?
I don't even know what the total is.
Total is 49.5.
Total's 49.
49.
Oh, actually, it moved down at 48. Last night it was 49.5. It is 48.5 now.
All right, I wrote a number down. What do you got?
I got. He picked a number that starts with a 5.
Okay, so he'll be. Well, I don't know how this works.
He picked. You just say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
51 points.
51. So I think that means that he gets everything. He gets everything above 49.5, and I get everything below 49.5 because I picked 48.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
There you go. There you go. All right. We'll see how this goes.
So wait a minute. So you get no.
Yeah.
You would get he gets over. Why? What?
He gets over 49.5. So we split the difference between the two picks. The number between
so you get
51 and 48.
Oh, so
is
you're not.
49
You're
and a
just
half.
doing closest period. Not
Yeah,
closest.
Yeah, it's closest to the pin.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
That's all
Price
this is.
Right.
We're not prices right again.
No. My God.
Okay. I'm just.
No, whoever's number is close.
Glenn picked one.
Then so how would that work? Like if it was 52, we're both out.
You can pick one. That's the way we do it.
Oh no, we would if we go over.
Yeah, so you'd have to if you knew he picked 51, you would pick one or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I pick 50. No, because then I could still go over. Right. I understand.
Right.
We can't go over, so I'd have to pick.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Whatever.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's there's at least some drama still going into the final. We at least have that going for us, and I can pray for a miracle. Here we go. What's that?
We got 6 days till pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, but what does that do for
February
us?
13th.
What is?
It's just 6 more days that the Orioles can sign another outfielder. We don't know.
Correct. To add one more guy into the mix. Well,
Harrison Bader's off the table.
You don't hate Maryland basketball. You only hate Maryland football, right?
Like I love Maryland basketball. I think it's fantastic.
You're such a weird dude.
I only hate one thing about the University of Maryland. That's their football program.
It makes no sense. They're the most
irrelevant.
They're the most irrelevant program of all time. Why would you have any emotions towards it?
I just never grew up rooting for them.
But that's why I would be indifferent towards it, not hate it.
Well, maybe it's more towards the Maryland fans that act like they're relevant.
Well, who does? Name that person.
I don't know. I saw everybody was very excited. They signed some coach.
But yeah, they got Pep Hamilton, which
yeah,
cool.
Don't get me wrong. Wait a second.
He coached Drake May.
Did you see any human being suggest that Pep Hamilton was going to make them a championship contender? You're punching at the air.
Mayo Bowl
championship. A lot of excitement.
What excitement did you see? You saw this doesn't.
Didn't they have a top recruiting class?
They did. They had the number 23 ranked recruiting class. Okay, 22. 20. They got the number 22
last night.
Yeah, with Zamir White or something like that.
Zahir
or something like that.
He was a bust this year.
Zamir definitely was a bust. That's for sure. All right, KZ.
Back.
Appreciate you for doing this all season long. Love you, buddy. We will look forward to talking some draft here at some point. Thank you, dude. It's Ken Zalis with us here on GCR. Boy, it's quite the rush.
I was like, oh gosh. I was like, I want you to lose.
Yeah.
I don't want to get anything. I don't want any.
Appreciate that.
But I appreciate the drama of sport. So
I would have.
So I was like, I do hope they pick different. So that way.
Look, man, I'm gonna do it. Whatever it is, I got to do. I'm gonna do it. We'll figure it out. I don't know who's making this fruit cake. I have no idea how that's happening.
Tim Miller.
Tim said he would do it.
He said he'd do it.
Oh God.
Whenever he was here, I showed it to him. He was like, "Oh yeah."
Does he hate himself?
Well, he's an experimental cook.
I'll do it, and I'll do it with far more. I'll do it. Wait, by the way, we got to get with Jeremy about the mayo dogs still.
Oh yeah,
that still hasn't happened. Could have done mayo dogs. Could have done anything as a side bet. Anything at all.
Pepper
Griffin just said, "This is too tough for me. I can't. I need a safe space.
I mean, send it out again, and
I need a therapy dog. No, it's too late now.
It's not. necessarily.
Did it?
It would be just you and I then, or
I mean, if you want to, we can do that, but you got to come up with something, and you still haven't come up with anything. God.
Well, I mean, yeah. I know,
Said he had all day yesterday, and it was like, I couldn't. I just couldn't. Anyway, yeah, I'll do it. Don't get me wrong. If I lose, I'm gonna do it because that's who I am. I'm a sportsman. But I don't want to. I would definitely rather it be Proctor. That's for sure. Let the whole world see his taint. I mean, like, I just keep thinking about that part.
Is that
the Brazilian to me?
Everyone has to see your taint?
Well, I mean, we're gonna put up a drape or something,
Okay,
but like,
right.
I just don't. I don't know.
I think I'm getting punished.
Yeah, right. I don't want it. I'm not looking to do any of these things. That was picks. Oh God, that was a.
Yeah, you're alive.
There's an emotional part.
You're still breathing.
Like I really, when you said those words, I was like, oh, thank God. And I'm still gonna lose. Like that's the crazy. This happened once before, where there was drama going into the final. One of the ones that I lost, and I don't remember who it was
Better
between.
hope there's no overtime.
Oh, yeah, I'm screwed if there's overtime. One of the ones that I lost, there was drama going into the same scenario. I was down by 1. I got the pick right. Whoever was, I was picking against, I got the pick right. I got the game right, and then lost on the points anyway. I'm very nervous. Very nervous.
I feel like you're on the better side of the point total. I have no idea. I don't know. I do feel like there's going to be, I don't know.
I mean, that really is part of it. Is that am I really, like, I start thinking about how few points 48 really is.
It's 24-21.
Like, if it's,
like what you're.
Yes, it's 27-24, I'm boned.
Yeah.
And that's not a shootout. That's just a regular football game. If it's 27-24, I lose.
So 26-23 is the top.
Yes, that's the last number that I can be saved by. 28-21. Like, if it's 28-21, I'm okay.
But you need to be Chiefs 28-21.
Yes, correct.
And they don't beat anyone by 7 points.
They don't. Almost ever. Actually, they don't beat anybody by more than 8 points. I guess that's the way that it works. All right, whatever. We did that, and I survived it. Now, today's show is brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is where you find everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland. Every team, every sport, every level, private schools, public schools, Eastern Shore, Western Maryland, they've got you covered. We're getting ready for hoops playoff season, and they'll let you know everything there is to know at CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Maryland basketball is going to get back in action in just a couple of minutes. We'll catch you up with the Wizard, Walt Williams, right here on GCR.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at costasinn.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and it's our very special Best of 2024 issue. On the cover, we celebrate our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, Lamar Jackson, as Bo Smolka profiles what the quarterback means to the community beyond the football field. Also inside, we celebrate the top people, performances, and moments of the year in local sports. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always read the entire issue and find the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCRs, continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. The Brigance Brigade's annual winter soiree is coming up Friday, February 21st at Martin's West. The amazing work the Brigance Brigade does in the name of the great O.J. Brigance to lift up those who are battling ALS and those who are supporting those that are battling ALS and to try to make their lives and their journeys more pleasant. It's an incredible, incredible organization. You can get your tickets for the Brigance Brigade's Winter Soiree right now at brigancebrigade.org. The event includes great live music. Jimmy Charles is going to be part of that, dancing, incredible food, live auction, special guest appearances, and just an amazing night celebrating O.J. Brigance and the great work of the Brigance Brigade. Again, go to brigancebrigade.org for tickets to the Winter Soiree, Friday, February 21st at Martin's West, brigancebrigade.org. And we appreciate you continuing to lift up and support the amazing efforts of the Brigance Brigade. Would encourage you today to read a piece that Mike Sando wrote for The Athletic about the Hall of Fame selection process and why there's something that adds to the increased likelihood of Terrell Suggs and or Marshall Yonda not making it into the Hall of Fame. Which I'm not telling you they won't, and I'm not telling you that it's unique to them. But as Clark Judge attempted to explain to us yesterday, the process has changed just slightly this year. And in the past, they would whittle it down to 5. And once they got it down to those 5, there was kind of an agreement amongst everybody in the room. We want to make sure those 5 get in. So once you got down to 5 finalists, then you need 80% of the vote. And basically, once you were down to 5, everybody would say, okay, well, we just want to make sure these people get in. Even if they weren't my choice, I want to get them in. Now, it gets whittled down to 7 finalists. And so the votes, you still have to hit the 80% threshold, and the votes could be split. So it's possible that instead of getting 5 in, you might only get 3 or 4. It's a guarantee that you'll get 3. But you might only get 3 or 4 in. So that's going to make it tougher for everybody. The process itself could change how big the class is this year for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I would encourage you, go read that. Mike Sando wrote it about it at The Athletic today, and how this maybe started with Deion Sanders complaining that it was too inclusive. So it's fascinating. Fascinating. All right, joining us now, Maryland basketball back in action tonight at Ohio State. Still riding high off of 3 straight quad 1 wins, and the Nebraska win before that looks better as well. And now moving into the top 25, the number 18 team in the country this week. Joining us now, part of the broadcast crew, and of course, one of the great players in Maryland basketball history. He is the Wizard, Walt Williams, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Walt, it's Glenn. It's always great to chat with you, brother. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
I'm how good are you feeling right now? I'm not trying to like suggest that this team is now, national championship bound or anything like that, but boy, the last couple of weeks have done wonders for the confidence that we have in this group.
Oh man, championship time. No, I'm just playing. Well, I tell you what, this team is when you look at it, it's very versatile. They can score from the outside at times, pretty consistently. Not as often as you would like, but enough. And then you have that interior, probably the best in the Big Ten. When you're talking about Derek Queen and Juju, you have a little depth in Gapari coming off the bench, giving you a lot of energy. So this team can hurt you in transition, half court, inside, outside. So, and then, a Coach Willard team is always, they always give you that effort on the defensive end. So, I mean, I would guess that this team is a dangerous team coming down the stretch.
No, I mean, that's they do a lot of things really well. I guess, the questions that are still out there, Walt, are you at all concerned about the depth of this team?
No, I think when you come off the bench, you don't worry about the depth. I think you have guys who give that effort defensively, can have moments of sparking the team. But when you're talking about the starters, you have three different guys in Rice, Gillespie, Selt Miguel. All three of those guys are capable of putting up 20 points. So when you have that versatility in your starting lineup, now when you go to your bench, it's about how you subbing and playing guys who are on a roll, who can stay out there and keep the game going, flowing offensively. So I think when you go to the bench, what they can bring to the table defensively, you don't lose size. And then you have the prospect of guys having moments where they can do things offensively. Sometimes you're going to have drop-offs, but then you can come back to the starters, many of them, and be able to get back to where you were. So I think because of the versatility of the starting lineup, you don't have to rely on the bench as much offensively, and I think they do their job defensively most times.
Walt Williams is with us here on GCR. Well, there's a couple of – I'm just going to put them out there, theories that I want to run by you. The first would be it's going from, like, being the hunters to the hunted. And I know that doesn't change, like, dramatically. It's not all of a sudden that Maryland wins a couple of games and now everybody's like, oh, they're the best team in the country. But I do wonder, do you have to learn now what it's like to be the team that everybody else looks at and sees the little number next to your name and how that affects them? Like, is there something to be said for it is a bit different when you're thought of as one of the better teams in the country and people are gunning for you a little bit more in those situations?
I don't know if it I think eventually it does, but right now they just got there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that applies when you just get there. I think you got to be there for a second, for teams to believe it. So right now it's a moment, it's a snapshot, right? And so now the games that you play after this, to be able to stamp that, is now where you start to garner that type of attention, where you're saying, okay, yeah, this is a for real team. They're ranked. This is where we can make a name for ourselves. I don't think they're at that point right now. I think they're still in the phase where, okay, yes, we've cracked the top 20,
right,
but now we have to prove that we belong here. So I think the chip on the shoulder still remains in the Terps court.
There will be you hear from coaches all the time that, like, they don't want anybody to tell their team how good they are, right? Like, they don't want to hear about it because then teams can get complacent a little bit in those situations. Is that at all something that, like, you worry about with this group?
Oh, absolutely. You talk about they young guys, man. So, hey, you're getting ranked, and they talked about that. They felt like they should have been ranked beforehand. So now you are. How you feeling now? So you got to make sure that you're not feeling yourselves just because you got there. Now that the tough part begins, because now you got to prove that you belong there. And I think they have enough veteran guys to be able to understand that. And so overall, I think as a team, they understand that part. But you definitely have those doubts at some point because, hey, these are young kids.
Right.
When you get those accolades, it's almost normal to, kind of feel yourself in those moments.
Well, Derek Queen, he's great, but he's a freshman, right? And like we've seen that a little bit, where there have been some nights where he's been completely dominant, and some nights where he's not been as great. And there are the opinions of some that will say, "Boy, I know everybody's talking about him as being a lottery pick, but he looks to me like a guy that could use one more year." What do you make of that assessment of a young player that we know has a lot of skill, but maybe is still trying to feel it out night in and night out?
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. But in this environment and day and age, how often does that happen?
Right.
These kids it's on potential. That's what the environment is, and his potential is, the ceiling is very high for him, and so it's all internal. It's about how advanced does he want to be before he goes to the next level. So, the part about him needing to grow more before he gets there, I argue that's probably the case with most of these kids that are going to go to the league. So I think it's internal for yourself about where you want to be when it's time to go, and so that you can dictate the impact that you'll have initially coming into the league.
I think you're absolutely right about that. Like that's the world we live in. These teams look at it and say, "Yeah, we can fix that. Like he can do that he can do that development here. Like that's fine." That's just the way that it goes, man. And for the most part, like it doesn't work for everybody, but it works for a lot of guys, and you're making a lot of money in the process. So I understand it.
Absolutely. So we're just hoping that he's enjoying himself here, and he wants to continue to develop, and hopefully that's the case, man. We get to enjoy him for another year.
Yeah, and maybe if somebody out there like owns a business and has a lot of money to throw around and said, hey, what are you gonna get in the NBA next year? Well, maybe there's something like that. As much as the Derek Queen, and obviously we talk about the guards, and Jacoby Gillespie's been phenomenal, but what Juju Reese has done this season in being completely consistent night in and night out, other than the rare time he's been in foul trouble, but more adding in the way that he has bounced back as a free throw shooter so that teams can't just foul him the way that they were the last couple of years. How critical has Juju Reese's evolution been to the success that this Maryland team has found this season?
Oh, man, I think it's been paramount. You mentioned it. You look at, say, his free throw shooting. That shows work ethic. It's drastically different than the way it was last year, not in just the percentage, but the way it looks. So you can tell that he put in a lot of work, and more importantly, that he's a player that's willing to do that to get better. So that says a lot about his character. Number two, I think he's grown in his maturity. I think last year and the previous years, the immaturity that he had carrying into the game resulted in him being in foul trouble, him having moments when he wasn't effective, and now he has corrected that. He's a seasoned vet out here, and I mean he's been beasting guys just about every game. He's playing against 7-footers every game, especially when you're talking about Big Ten. So There hasn't been a size advantage that he's taken advantage of here. He's just meeting the competition where it is, and he's competing, and it's infectious throughout the team. I'm sure that they can see what he's doing out there, and he's getting grown man rebounds, man, and he's working in that paint, being physical, and your team feeds off things like that, man. So he's been tremendous this season, and more importantly, he's been very consistent.
Well, is there something at all that you still want to see more or more consistently or better? The difference between being a good team and being a team that's ready to go make an NCAA tournament run. Can you define that at all for us?
Well, I think that you want to see this team be a little bit better on the defensive end. The previous two Willett seasons, the defense has just been at an incredible level. And then you wish in those previous years that the offense would step up. And so now that you have that offensive capability, the defense has fallen off just a smidget, So you want to get back to where you was team defensively and as individuals. So I think that as we go along and getting into this Big Ten, the Big Ten is just so much parity right now, and I think they, as a team, they're gaining so much experience and a continuity on the defensive end, and that's going to help them later on. And so if they can get back to where they were defensively, let's say last year on a consistent basis, I mean, I think this team is a team to be reckoned with, because once again, on the offensive end, where they can, the versatility, being able to score inside, outside, transition, half court, what they can do offensively, I think the combination of those two things, I think takes them to a whole nother level.
And, of course, shooting the ball the way that they have, which, to your point, is probably the thing that stands out the most, and the difference between last year's team and this year's team, where you just say, holy crap. I mean, that is a weapon for sure. Walt Williams, what's going on in your world, my friends?
Oh, man, just a couple of things, man. So I'm down here in Florida right now, just in a board meeting right now, just trying to do what I can for the University of Maryland, and see what I can do to help this university be one of the best in the country. And just making sure that, and also being able to, my vodka company, Clutch Vodka, just being able to work with them and market that. And, it's one of the best tasting vodkas on the market. But the thing about, for me, I wanted to make sure it was just affordable pricing. So, we're just trying to market that and grow that company. So, yeah, doing a lot of different things. More importantly for me, I'm a financial advisor. So when you talk about the environment with these college students getting NIL dollars, just make sure they have an understanding of what comes with those payments.
If I could, just because it strikes me, like I don't know if you ever had a relationship with Leonard Hamilton. Like I think of, the fact that he was in the ACC for a long time, where Maryland was. Leonard Hamilton this week announces he's retiring at the end of the year. I know he never won a national championship, but like, my God, what a run for Leonard Hamilton, man.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at those Florida State teams. One thing that's always consistent about them is they're going to have some big physical players out there, especially on the wing, and they're going to play. They're going to be in your face. They always exude Leonard Hamilton's personality out there, all of his teams that he's ever coached out there. And so that's a testament to him, and also how the players respect him, how his team has always respected him. And so, man, he's a great coach, and he definitely should be a Hall of Famer.
There's no question about that, man. He's unbelievable. Walt Williams, always appreciate you, brother. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
The Wizard, Walt Williams, with us this morning on GCR. Maryland, Ohio State tonight at 7 in Columbus. And, of course, we remember what happened when those two teams got together in College Park. However, Ohio State, since then, they went and beat Purdue. Ohio State's a difficult team to figure because in, like, moments, they look really good. And then they just have these stretches where they can't beat anybody. It's brutal. They're 13-9 on the year, and I'm trying to remember. They
had a couple non-conference. Did they beat A&M, or am I thinking of somebody else?
Did they beat A&M?
Or maybe they just beat Texas, who now that doesn't look nearly as.
Hang on, I'm pulling up there. They beat Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, to your point. They lost to A&M.
Got it. Okay.
And they
did beat Green Bay. That's a
they did. They did beat. Everybody's doing it. A lot of.
I mean, if they had lost to Green Bay, that would He's also a radio host, Glenn.
I understand. It is one of the most deeply embarrassing things that, like, and this is the crazy part. I think Doug Gottlieb has traipsed into the, just say anything for the sake of saying anything over the years. But I never had any personal reason to dislike Doug Gottlieb. When he would do Maryland games, he would always come on with us. And I didn't care for him as a talk show host, but I still thought he was a pretty good basketball analyst. This is just so deeply embarrassing that there's just no coming back from this. If Doug Gottlieb just left doing his talk, I wouldn't have any reason to dunk on him for the fact that
they're 2 and whatever.
I would have no reason to dunk on him. Teams are bad sometimes. A lot of teams are bad, particularly that. How did Pat Scarry's first year go at Towson?
Not great.
Not at all. Which doesn't mean that he's, I get it. He's still chasing the first CAA championship, but for the most part, they have been a very steady, good program. Regular season champions. Like, they have been very steady for the most part under Pat Scarry. If you judged him by what his record was in the first year, you'd say, that guy can't coach. What a terrible hire that was. I have no idea if Doug Gottlieb can be a college basketball coach or not. We have no clue. And if he wasn't pulling this charade, I would have no reason to be antagonistic towards him. But this is just so deeply embarrassing to everyone involved in multiple professions. It's a sham. It's a sham that university has allowed it. It's a sham that, and who does he even work? Is he Fox? Is he?
That's what he was before, I guess.
I realize I don't remember anymore where he works. Is he Infinity? Is he? He's on one of these. I think it's Fox. It's a sham that they're allowing it. Everyone involved
Fox Sports
has culpability in this. And there's some part of me that's like empathetic towards it because like I remember when I first started working in radio, when I was first doing 105.7, when I was first doing Ed Norris's show on 105.7, I was going to go on vacation. No, I was working as a camp counselor.
Nice.
Over the summer for a week. 1 week I worked as a camp. Just something I had done since I was a teenager. Some of my friends did it. And I was like 22 years old. And I wanted to do it. But I realized if I disappear for a week, somebody else might do my job.
Mm-hmm.
And then they might just say, we really like them.
Right.
You don't need to worry about coming back. It's just the way that you feel. You get that in this business. And particularly then, because I had no idea if I was good at it or not. Like, it's the thing that I was, like, the respect that I had for Pete Medhurst. Pete Medhurst never worried about that. I'm going to help you because I know how good I am at this job. You're not taking my job. But when you're 22, you have no idea. I don't know if I'm good or not. Liz Drabick's going to fill in for me. Liz is great. I love Liz. I might never come back. So I just said, how about every day I call in? Like, I was trying to figure out a way that I could still be a part of the show while I was gone because I was terrified that the moment that I was then, I even did a bit worse than that. Then I suggested they have, like, sports figures fill in for me that I knew couldn't do the job. But I wanted to turn it into a silly bit. I'm like, well, I think I had like Taj Holden, the former Maryland basketball player, fill in for me one day. Like, he's not trying to do this. He doesn't. It'll just be silly and like, because I was that. So I understand that that's part of what Doug Gottlieb is going through. Like, he knows he could be fired from Green Bay this year. It's the nature of college sports. Well, if I give up my afternoon slot on Fox Sports Radio, I might not get it back. But that's how this works. Like, that's the nature of the beast. I don't know what to tell you. I used to split doing Loyola games with Brett Hollander. Brett Hollander got the Orioles job. He wasn't like, well, let me see if I could still do the Loyola. No, you go take the Orioles job. And if for some reason that doesn't work out at some point, then you just go get another job. Mm-hmm. It's just so deeply embarrassing. It's so that it makes it so easy because everyone knows you can't do this. Does that mean the record would be different if he was only the Green Bay Basket? If he stopped doing, I don't know. I have no idea. My guess is they're probably not very good, and him being a full they
could double. Who knows? Maybe they double their win.
Right. They have 4 instead of 2. I guess that's how many. Were any of those? Have they beaten a D1 team?
I want to see.
Because I was going to say, how deeply embarrassing is it for the one team that they've beaten? Like, who's the team that has to hold that who has to deal with it.
They beat Western Illinois and SIUE, Southern Illinois, Edwardsville.
Damn.
Beat Edwardsville and Western Illinois.
Imagine
Both by double digits.
Imagine being those teams.
Yeah.
Imagine being them. To the point, like everybody was dunking on him because he showed up on Radio Row, and I'm like, you know what? I get it. He deserves to be dunked on. He does. Like, this is the one time where I think the internet is right about something. I don't like groupthink, but there's a lot of groupthink on this. Like, this is shameful, and you should be embarrassed by the fact that this is something that you're trying to perpetuate. I don't know how we got that. How do we get to Doug Gottlieb from all of this?
Edwardsville's pretty good, actually. They're second in the Ohio Valley.
Go figure. A hell of a run for Leonard Hamilton. I mean, damn impressive. Florida State was – basketball didn't exist at Florida State. They were the bottom rung of the ACC. It was – you could count on – when the ACC was 9 teams, it was – you knew that play-in game on Thursday night of the ACC tournament was Florida State. Typically, it was Florida State and Clemson, actually, because they were the football schools, right? Like, they were the – well, we have to have basketball, so we'll have basketball. Leonard Hamilton changed a lot, man. An unbelievable run at Florida State. And he's going to retire at the end of this season. So that was a big story in college basketball. We come back in. I don't want to touch this topic. I'm going to talk about this week the president signed an executive order related to athletics and related to transgender people participating in athletics. And it led to a pretty divisive back and forth that involved some popular Ravens personalities on social media. I'm going to discuss it a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'm not qualified, believe it or not, but I'm going to discuss it when we come back in. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in Maryland. But don't worry, protection is within arm's reach. Protect your health with this year's COVID-19 and flu shots. It's safe and convenient to get them both at the same time. Flex your protection. For more information, visit health.maryland.gov/vaccines.
This message paid for by the Maryland Department of Health.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
You're gonna love February at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Sweeten your Valentine's Day with a chocolate bar February 13th and 14th. Pamper yourself and your partner with Valentine's Day spa discounts February 10th through 21st. Celebrate the Year of the Snake and win a Lunar New Year luxury brand collection February 28th. Plus more ways to play, dine, and win all month. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at driveeasymd.com.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy. when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. I don't, we don't do politics here. I don't care for doing politics. Somebody asked me recently, because, a lot of people end up doing other things in their careers. They were like, hey, if somebody, what would the price be for you to suddenly decide that you wanted to be a political commentator or work in, I was like, I don't know. I don't really even know how much I like doing sports anymore because it gets so damn divisive. Like, I have no idea. Like, unless somebody said you could do the bit where you make fun of everyone, like where you're not on anybody's team. Like, maybe I could do that. I don't know. But if it required me to be on a team to do just regurgitating you're on a Republican station, so you have to just say everything that the Republicans do is right, or you're on a liberal outlet and you have to just say that everything that they do is right. My God. Like, I guess some of those people are making such an amount of money that maybe they don't care that they're soulless, but, like, I don't know what that number would be. Earlier this week, the President of the United States signed an executive order, not a bill, an executive order that demanded that Title IX be interpreted to not protect transgender athletes. That if you are at a public school, if you're at somewhere where they receive taxpayer dollars, that you would not allow transgendered people to compete with their chosen, I guess if that's the word that we're looking for, gender, but instead could only compete with the gender of their birth. This has become an extraordinarily hot-button topic, despite the fact that it has impacted almost no one. Which doesn't mean it's impacted no one. It means it's impacted almost no one.
A very small...
And we can't say that it's as small a number as it could possibly be. But it has been propped up because this goes back to the way that it works in politics. What we found is this thing that almost doesn't exist plays well with the crowd that we're trying to play to. So we will discuss it as if it is one of the more pressing issues of our time. Because to some people, it is just red meat. It's red. It is. This is what's wrong with this is what's wrong with the country. This is happening all over the place. People are pretending to be dogs and like we lose sight of reality in the name of scoring points. Now that doesn't mean that it hasn't impacted anyone. And it is a very difficult topic where we're still trying to figure out all of the science and all of the ramifications of it. And it has been extraordinarily ugly. It has led to scenes where there has been suggestion that we saw this happen at the Olympics last year, where we were dramatically wrong, couldn't have been more wrong, but all groupthink decided to come to this idea that there was someone born a man competing as a woman in boxing, a violent sport. We perpetuated that, despite the fact that it had nothing to do with fact. And it was based on this incredibly shoddy organization that had made this suggestion. We just ran with it. It was deeply embarrassing. But, hey, we do that well. You know what? Way more embarrassing than Doug Gottlieb. We have screwed this up at every turn because we're still trying to figure it out. For a lot of people, because the idea of gender dysmorphia or transgender, because it's not something that impacts you in your world, just make it go away. Well, I don't care about them. This is the way that it works, right? Like, it's something we're very good at as a society. If it doesn't impact me, then I don't care. And it doesn't impact me. Make it go away. And that's the problem with a lot of these conversations, is they become quite disingenuous. What are we actually talking about? Two people that I both like. Lacey DaCosta, of course, is the wife of Ravens general manager Eric DaCosta, and a very popular person on social media, and someone who I've always appreciated. She does a lot of really good things. She's lifted up a lot of our charity endeavors. I like Lacey DaCosta a lot. Ryan Mink writes the Baltimore Ravens, has been involved with them as an organization for, almost 20 years at this point. They got into a pretty public back and forth yesterday about this topic. And it's easy for me. I'm just going to talk about Maryland. I'm just going to talk about, I tend to just try to stay away from this type of stuff because there's no win. I can't win it. I'm not winning here. So I'm just going to avoid it. The only things that I would say, one of the things I did appreciate about their back and forth, there are two people that appeared to have strong disagreement about the topic, but never seemed to allow it to become personal. And I do appreciate that. Like, it doesn't solve anything, but I do appreciate let's be capable as humans of discussing topics without resorting to, F you, without resorting to...
You're stupid.
Yeah, like anything along those lines. I appreciate that. And it's not just them. Plenty of people are having these conversations. But anyone who thinks that this is a black and white issue, that this is as simple as you're a man, you're wrong. Wrong. Which doesn't mean that I know that we have governed correctly how to handle the idea of transgender athletes competing in sports. I don't know. Because I don't know the policies for every governing body and I don't know. I know that for a long time the idea was to test testosterone levels. And if you were at a certain threshold testosterone level-wise, then you couldn't compete in women's sports. I think we then found out there were actual biological women who had high testosterone levels, and that became one of the problems that we've dealt with. There will be other people that would say even if you're testing at a testosterone level that's lower than this threshold, the composition of your body might just still give you an inherent unfair advantage over people that don't have that composition of their body. Perhaps true. Perhaps true. As we've said before, Michael Phelps had a pretty inherent advantage over a lot of people because of the composition of his body. I mean, that's something that within genders we deal with, unfair advantages. Believe it or not, I'm not going to be able to compete against Luka Doncic. And it's not just because of my lack of heart, and trust me, I don't have the heart, but it's because I don't look like him. We've dealt with that for a long time within genders. Not all women are built like Kelsey Plum or Serena Williams. And that inherently gives you advantage. Which isn't me saying just let anybody I know better. I know it's not that easy. But I also know that this topic, and certainly the way that it's been used by the president, has been wildly disingenuous. We care about women's sports. No, you don't. Why are you lying? Call him on it. Ask him who won the WNBA title last year. Just stop saying nonsense for the sake of saying it. You don't care about women's sports. You care about scoring political points. And you believe this one is a winner. For some of you, it's not fully disingenuous. It's only somewhat disingenuous. You don't fully care about women's sports, but you do in your heart of hearts think that these public instances where you've seen stories of transgender athletes compete, you do think that that's unfair. That part is genuine. And you mean well, but you've decided to present it in black and white circumstances. And that's not how this exists. As a society, because we've dumbed down the discourse, we've failed to actually address the problem. How do we? This is not going away. This idea that, well, maybe if we stop allowing transgender people to compete in sports, which is obviously over the years been far more of a, male to female than it is female to male. Not to say there haven't been any. If we stop that, maybe we can stop transgenderism altogether because it scares us. Maybe we can just go back to, putting these people away, making them feel unwelcome, unwanted. For a lot of you, that is what you're hoping to get out of this. Whether you recognize that or not, in your world, you'd rather not deal with transgender people. And we've tried to find any way that we could. We've done it with bathrooms. We've invented some world where if someone's transgender, then they're going to commit sexual assault. We've just said nonsense for the sake of saying it. Repeatedly, over and over again. To be clear, there are now public buildings where there are not just mixed gender single toilet bathrooms, but mixed gender bathrooms with combinations of toilets and urinals. And you're not going to believe this, but the world has been it has gone on. Yes, there are scary, awful people that want to do scary, awful things, but they exist no matter who you tell can use what bathroom. And I wish that they didn't exist, and I hate it. But it has nothing to do with you saying, stay out of the women's room. Someone who wants to do something heinous is not going to say, well, that sign says transgender people aren't allowed in this bathroom, so I guess I can't do that heinous thing that I wanted to do. We've traipsed into fantasy land with some of these conversations. Which, again, isn't me saying there's nothing to this. It does deserve conversation, but we're not good at that here. What we're good at is just seeking the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator is we actually care about women's sports. You don't. You don't. Who won the U.S. Open last year? Who won Wimbledon? Name any of the top 5 female golfers in the world. Don't lie. You care about scoring political points, and you might care about what you think could be an unfair issue. And if we presented it that way and said, hey, look, I understand this is complicated, and I'd like to have a dialogue about it. Instead of just trying to attack those that are different, then we'd probably be in a better place at this point. But we don't. We default to the easiest level of this. The easiest level is get the transgenders out. I think it's incredibly difficult because there are instances where someone who deals with gender dysmorphia just wants to compete in sports. And for the answer to be, you've got to go to this place that's causing you so much of this pain, doesn't feel like it's the right answer. And that doesn't mean that there aren't instances where it hasn't appeared to be put. The thing that we always default to is LeBron James can just put on a dress and say, I'm LeBron now, and go compete. We're just talking out. When you say that stuff, you're offering nothing. Like, to call it a straw man argument isn't even, it's offensive to a straw man argument. You're just saying nonsense for the sake of saying nonsense to poison the well of the conversation. And it doesn't mean that there haven't been instances where it's appeared to be questionable. But you don't know anything. Some people do. You probably don't. And addressing the instance of, is this person actually transgender, or is this person just mentally unstable or trying to take advantage, whatever it is, let's address that. Let's deal with that issue. Pretending that this is black and white, pretending like this is the right thinkers know that men shouldn't be competing against women. You're punching air. You're not fighting with anyone. You've created a new argument because you want to win. That's not what's happening here. It is a nuanced, difficult conversation that the overwhelming majority of us aren't capable of having. So I started this. I'm not qualified to solve these problems. It's why we're supposed to have a functioning, leadership that helps us, people that understand these things far better than we do. But some time ago, we all were given Twitter accounts, and that made us feel like we were experts about topics that we don't know anything about at all. But we're fed by certain people. Well, you know better. You know this is men competing against women. And we lick it up. We're like, oh, yeah. We'll lap it up. Yeah, we get all lathered up about it. Yeah, this is insane. This is anybody who thinks this is okay. They're evil. It's not the actual issue here. I don't know where it's going to go.
Because we want everyone to feel comfortable. Like that's the that's the thing. And sports is always supposed to be something that brings people together.
And I get it.
This is
it is complicated. It's complicated. I'm not obtuse. I think we're all very familiar with the story of Leah Thomas, and I don't know what to make of it. I don't. Because I'm not an expert in that field. I don't know. But that's what I'm capable of saying. I know there are people that know far more about this topic than I do, that can figure out how do we make this as fair as possible. How do we do that? How do we recognize that these people exist and that they're going to continue to exist? We're not going to make them go away and allow for an opportunity for them to compete, but compete appropriately. And guys, I don't know that answer. And if I was in a position where it required me to know that answer, then I'd spend a lot more time on the topic.
Right.
But to the point, you don't know either. You're just saying things for the sake of saying it, either because you root for a certain political party and it's a political point, or, again, I think it's possible that you do mean well and you believe in your heart of hearts that this is a black and white issue because you've been told over and over again that it is. It's way more complicated than that. And if I had a solution, I'd share the solution with you. I don't. But I know that when we try to dumb it down and make it seem like, this is, and I'm not mad at, Lacey DaCosta. Like, I'm not. Everybody has the right to whatever they think, whatever their opinion is. You have the right to that. But it is not as black and white as you want to make believe that it is. It's just not. And I don't know what this executive order does to solving the problem. I don't know if everybody just says, well, the president said this, so let's just stop trying to solve it. We don't have a choice anymore. I would like to hope that the work will continue to try to figure out what the fairest way is for competition to look like. And it's different in every sport, I'm sure. But it's not going away. I also don't know, I'm certain there will be lawsuits related to this executive order, and I don't know what that will look like. I have no idea. But we have made it, man, we have tried to make it seem like it is as simple, it's black and white, and it just isn't. It's not. All right, come back in, Tidbit Tubular, and then we'll talk to Eric Kolar. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. That's next, Glenn Clark Radio.
You're going to love February at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Sweeten your Valentine's Day with a chocolate bar February 13th and 14th. Pamper yourself and your partner with Valentine's Day spa discounts February 10th through 21st. Celebrate the Year of the Snake and win a Lunar New Year luxury brand collection February 28th. Plus, more ways to play, dine, and win all month. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in Maryland. But don't worry, protection is within arm's reach. Protect your health with this year's COVID-19 and flu shots. It's safe and convenient to get them both at the same time. Flex your protection. For more information, visit health.maryland.gov/vaccines.
This message paid for by the Maryland Department of Health.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Down for a Thursday edition of the program. Before we get out of here, we're going to talk to Maryland Lacrosse short stick D midi Eric Kolar as they get ready to come play Loyola in Baltimore on Saturday.
The print issue of Press Box is still available for at least a few more days at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Or you can do what the gentleman that may or may not have actually existed did the other day and just wander right into the office here, grab one, tell us you're grabbing one, and Griffin will have no interest whatsoever. He'll just continue to pretend like you don't exist. You can do that. It is our best of issue with Lamar Jackson on the cover. Go get it for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms and those hundreds of locations around town. You can read it all. PressBoxOnline.com/best of. All right, let's go ahead and get a tidbit. Let's do that.
Tidbit wise, where do we want to go? I didn't really have any I guess just like stats from the week or the night, I guess. Tonight's the NFL
Loyola
honors.
won last night, right? They beat Lafayette.
Yep, road win at Lafayette.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I believe Navy lost.
Yeah, that was kind of.
Were those the only two?
The only two teams. The only two local teams in action last night.
So the NFL honors is tonight. Lamar Jackson looking to join.
I think American lost, by the way.
Yeah, American lost at Bucknell.
So the bunch up there in the Patriot League,
because
it just gets a little more.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, oh, American's the best team in the Patriot League. They should be favored in this game.
Yeah, how'd that go for you?
Not good. Not good. They lost by like 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I got to stop betting Patriot League games.
And Navy lost to a BU team by a lot that they had just beaten by a lot 2 weeks before that.
Right.
Like it's just it's a weird league, man.
So Lamar going for his third MVP tonight. He could become the seventh man to win 3 NFL MVPs. He is already only one of 11 men to win 2 MVPs. Can you name the 6 that have 3 MVPs?
Well, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady does have 3. 3 or more.
Rodgers
has 4.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton has the most. Peyton Manning has 5 MVPs. There's a co-MVP in there. So should it be 4.5 or should it be 5?
It counts. That's funny now because I knew those. I'm not sure I know the others. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, only 2.
What a bum. Yeah. What a bum. What a pathetic loser. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre has 3 MVPs. Okay. Manning, Rodgers, Brady, Favre, 2 more. And potentially a third tonight at 9 o'clock.
John Unitas.
Johnny Unitas has 3 MVPs.
So there's one more?
There is one more.
I'm not sure who it is. I really don't know that I know who it is. Walter Payton.
Not Walter Payton.
Is it not a quarterback? I feel like that there was somebody on the list that wasn't a quarterback.
He is not a quarterback.
Not a quarterback. And it has to be a running back, obviously, if that's the case.
Unless?
No, it's a running back. Lord knows. We weren't given. We were certainly not. If there was ever a time where a wide receiver would be an MVP, it'd be in the modern era, and none have been.
Or a linebacker, right?
Yeah. A running back. A running back who was a multiple times. So it's got to be somebody. It's not Barry Sanders because the Lions stunk.
It is not Barry. He did win 1 MVP, but
I don't think I remember that he had won 1. That's the funny part.
What year did he win?
I don't think it's Eric. Jim Brown.
Jim Brown has 3 MVPs. Yes, the only non-QB with multiple MVP awards. Those are the 6: Unitas, Brown, Favre, Brady, Rodgers, Manning. Lamar sitting at 2 at this moment. You named Joe Montana. There are 3 other guys that have won 2 MVPs.
Gotta keep doing this. Steve Young.
We're done.
It's always Steve Young.
Steve Young did win twice.
It's always Steve Young.
Steve
That's
Young
what I've learned about this game. It's always
Steve Young and Montana both won twice.
Cam only won 1. Steve McNair only won the 1. Matt Ryan only won 1. Oh, Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes has won twice.
And Adrian Peterson. He only won one.
Only one for AP.
John Elway.
John Elway, only one.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner, yes, 2 MVPs. We were doing multiple MVPs, John. That's why I saw he just started texting us. But yeah, multiple players with 3 MVPs and then players with 2 MVPs. But yeah, friend of the program, Kurt Warner, also 2 MVPs in his career.
They had him on the bench behind Matt Leinart. Never forget that time in our history.
Well, you were there.
Right? I was. Was I ever? Talk about things that are deeply embarrassing. The Arizona Cardinals said, Matt Leinart's the guy. Kurt Warner to the bench. In fairness, he had been on the bench in New York. Like we thought his days were over as being Kurt Warner. He was on the bench, but he was at least behind Eli Manning, who, while not a great, he might be a Hall of Famer, not a great quarterback, is at least a lot better than Matt Leinart. God. What a time that was. All right. Tidbit was also brought to you by the CIAA tournament.
It was. Baltimore welcoming the excitement of the Food Lion CIAA men's and women's basketball tournament to CFG Bank Arena from February 25th through March 1st. Get your tickets. They are available now. Ticketmaster.com. Again, head over to Ticketmaster.com. Find your tickets for the Food Lion CIAA men's and women's basketball tournament at CFG Bank Arena February 25th through March 1st.
Very good. Let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Lots of teams in action. The Maryland men, as we mentioned, are going to be at Ohio State, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Jason Benetti and Bill Raftery calling that game. And then immediately afterwards, just stick around on Fox Sports 1, the Maryland women, although it's been a struggle of late, they're at Oregon tonight at 9 o'clock. UMBC's at New Hampshire tonight at 7 on ESPN+. Mount St. Mary's at home against Iona at 7 on ESPN+. Towson's at Stony Brook trying to keep the win streak alive at 6:30 on Flow Sports, unfortunately.
TowsonTigers.com.
That's true. With Spiro, you can listen to it there. If you want to watch it, you're boned. As Griffin just mentioned, NFL Honors at 9 on both Fox and NFL Network, apparently. Oh, okay. I guess that's the way that they're doing that. Well, we will find out if Lamar Jackson does indeed win his 3rd MVP. We believe he will. And we will find out.
Hosted by Snoop Dogg.
Great. And we will find out if Terrell Suggs and or Marshall Yanda gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Everything else college basketball-wise tonight, you can find at GlennClarkRadio.com. TNT and True TV for Mavs Celtics at 7:30. Warriors Lakers at 10. I assume Luka's playing.
I thought they said Saturday.
Oh, Saturday?
Yeah, because he is technically hurt still.
Oh, right. Yeah, there is that. So, well, I thought that might be one of those,
I thought they said Saturday. Maybe he is playing.
Now all of a sudden he's in a new place, and so
right.
Look at how that worked.
Oh,
although he wasn't trying to get out, so it's not one of those situations. No Jimmy Butler for that one either, obviously. And then on ESPN Plus and Hulu, Hurricanes Wild at 7:30, Maple Leafs Kraken at 10. Golf Channel for round 1 of the PGA's Phoenix Open. This is the one where everybody gets drunk, and it's a little bit unlike other golf tournaments. Not that I'm going to watch, but if you like watching,
you were to go to a golf tournament.
I have been to the Phoenix Open, and I got very drunk. I've done a little bit of everything at the Phoenix Open. I took a swing at the. Was it the 17th or the 16th? I don't remember.
I mean, you took a swing at a golf.
No.
Security guy or something.
They do a pro-am day.
Oh, okay.
And they let us come, and the people start getting drunk there on Monday, and so
it doesn't start until today.
There's still a wild crowd, and they're all hammered, and when you miss, they kill you, and I missed.
Wait, you missed completely?
Oh, my shot was awful.
But you made contact with the ball.
Yeah, I made contact with the ball.
But it went straight,
I mean, it went I might have hurt somebody. It was terrible. And I remember everybody telling me, dude, you got to do it. You
You got to
Is it on
chase
video anywhere?
No, I mean I don't think
I guess
so.
this is.
I mean maybe it is. I don't know.
2006,
Yeah, it's
7.
2007 or 8. I don't remember what year. What year was the Super Bowl? Because it was not the Super Bowl year.
I was just looking.
So I think the Super Bowl year was 08. So I think this would have been 07. And we did the show from we did the whole we did the whole deal. Got plenty drunk, and I watched no golf, none. Like the drinking part, I was in for that. But the
08, yeah. February
yeah, was the Super Bowl in Glendale. So this was not because they did the Super Bowl and the Phoenix Open the same week. Like it was a wild.
They did it, was that 2 years ago? I guess
the crazy part was I remember the station saying like, "Hey, you're going to do Radio Row this day, but then the rest of the week you're broadcasting from
the golf tour,
the Phoenix Open." And I said, "We're doing what now?" And I was also working nationally for Sporting News Radio at the time, and so I said, "How about you find somebody to fill in for me on the golf tournament, and I'll go see if I can work with Sporting News." And then I went over and hung out with Drew. Oddly, like that was
when you first met Drew.
I did. That was when I first met Drew. Straight
you knew there was Baltimore people, so you just like walked over
there.
Well,
I had known the old boss, unfortunately, and I'd known because I'd worked at 105.7 before that. So like Anita was there, and I was going over and hanging out with her for a little bit. But then I had a conversation with the old boss about maybe coming back to Baltimore. I think maybe people know that I was very close friends with his son, dating back to high school. And so we had a conversation, and he was like, "Well, why don't you come over and hang out with Drew and see if you guys have some chemistry?" So that's how that went. I let somebody else go out and do the golf tournament that week. I said, "I don't know if you heard, it's the Super Bowl. I'm going to prioritize that."
Yeah, but this is
is
it the Waste Management
Open? It was called the Waste Management. I think it's now the Waste Management Phoenix Open is what they call it again. But anyway, Access TV for TNA Impact tonight at 8. Non-sports?
Yeah, there are a few things. Pete Davidson will be on Seth Meyers.
Ah, yes, plugging the Waste Management Phoenix
Open.
Really?
Okay,
yeah.
Nice. Good for him. He is in Dogman as well. Kieran Calkin will be on Fallon alongside Kean Thompson and Marcelo Hernandez.
Of course, they're all plugging Dogman.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah. Practical Jokers, new episode of that.
Ah, yes.
New episode of The Traders on Peacock.
Ah, all of my favorite shows.
Well, you're going to love this one, too. Season 6 premiere of The Kardashians.
Oh, hell yeah. Never missed that.
And then there's
that episode of Pop Culture Jeopardy that I watched, there was a category that was all related to the Kardashians. I'm like,
did you get any of it?
Well, I knew momager. That was one of the questions was like, what's the term that Kris Kardashian invented?
I don't think I would have gotten that.
It was momager. I did know that one. And one of them was really easy. One of them was like, what NBA player was Khloe Kardashian had a spinoff with? It was Lamar Odom. Like that one was obvious. Although I guess it could have been Tristan. It could have been Tristan Thompson because I think she also dated Tristan Thompson maybe. But
which one did Chris Middleton? That was Courtney. No.
No. Chris Humphries was married to Kim.
Sorry, Chris Middleton.
Had a very brief marriage to Kim Kardashian. Very brief.
Season 3 of Invincible.
One of them, somebody in the NBA dated. I don't remember which one of them. Okay, so we had, I want to say Raymond Felton maybe on the show one morning for some reason. Maybe plugging the Big 3 when the Big 3 first launched. And Kyle was like, "You want to have Raymond Felton on?" I was like, "What am I going to talk to Raymond Felton about?" All right, did he date a Kardashian?
No.
We had a basketball player on one morning who had dated a Kardashian.
Kyle Kuzma. I'm looking at there's like a list of like 15.
There we go. Very
Kuzma
good.
did. Chandler Parsons did. James Harden did.
Devin Booker dated Jenner.
Devin Booker did. Ben Simmons did. Blake Griffin apparently. Jordan Clarkson.
No.
Said Tristan Thompson. Rashad McCants.
There's the winner. That's the winner. Rashad
That's the one I
McCants.
read.
Thank you. Rashad McCants was on the show one morning. I think to plug the Big 3. But Lord, at the time, the Big 3 wasn't coming to Baltimore. There was no. I was like, so 3-on-3 basketball, huh? And then that's all we talked about afterwards. I was like, so, and this is a different.
He date?
This is a different. I was like, hey Rashad, I'm gonna bring something up because there's the perceived Kardashian curse.
Khloe.
He dated Khloe.
Yeah.
It's like, are you at all worried that the reason why you're now playing in the Big 3 is because of the Kardashian curse? And I could have been a complete dick about it, but instead was he laughed. He loved it.
Good.
He had a great time with it. All right, sorry.
I think. Oh wait, that was season 3 of Invincible on Prime Video.
Which one's that?
That's the superhero animated series with
if you say so.
The guy that just like kills everybody.
It's the one about Vince Papale. It's Mark Wahlberg plays Vince Papale and Greg Kinnear plays Dick Vermeil, famously. Yes.
Okay. Beast Games, an episode of that, and Apple Cider Vinegar is a show on Netflix. It's based on Mel Gibson, who lied about having cancer, and then made a fortune from like from selling like fake wellness stuff. And it's a TV show.
Mel Gibson's in
No, Belle Gibson.
Belle Gibson.
I think she's Australian or something.
But is it a documentary or
no? It's a TV show.
Scripted show.
Yeah, it's a TV show called Apple.
Because that sounds pretty similar to Scamanda, which is the next one we're doing for Book Club.
Well, this is a TV show, and I mean, like it probably could fall into a similar category. But yeah, Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix.
Is that it?
I believe that.
Very
is
good.
It. Yeah, that is it. Elton John's be on Colbert.
Plugging Dogman, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big week for Dogman.
I got it. The problem is I'm not good at things that are coming up. Like I don't know what's coming up.
We got,
what's a movie?
Well, Captain
America's next week. Yeah.
Love Hurts is this week. That's the Ke Huy Quan.
Oh, and with Marshawn
Lynch.
Yeah.
That one looks good. I think that'll be good.
I don't know if it'll be good or not, but I would still watch it.
Companions, that horror movie that came out last week. It looked all right. I haven't seen it yet, but
okay. All right.
Maybe.
Very good. Very good.
Those are the big movies.
Thanks today to Walt Williams. Thanks to
I never saw Flight Risk. I did want to see that. That's the Mark Wahlberg
but
one.
Was it good or
apparently it wasn't?
Yeah.
But it looked like I don't know.
It didn't look good. But it looked like it might be campy, and that I you can get me sometimes on that too. It definitely didn't look good. There's no world in which it looked.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I didn't have a chance to see it when it first came out, so now it just feels like, So I live in Carroll County. No movie theaters in Carroll County stay open past 10 o'clock now.
Well,
the latest showing is 8 p.m.
I don't know when we don't need you hoodlums out running the streets.
I don't know when I'm gonna see. That was the best time to see movies for me. 10 p.m.
Mount Airy doesn't need the likes of you wandering around at 11:30. What? Nothing good's gonna happen with someone like you out there on the streets. I think
ridiculous.
that's a good call. It's a smart decision, Carroll County.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't want you wandering over to my county.
Owings Mills now to
no,
see movies.
no, I don't want you in my county.
No.
I drive those roads sometimes. You stay out there. You stay out.
Well, you won't be on the roads after like midnight, will you?
Yeah. Well,
you don't have to worry about it.
You never know. The other night when I was coming back from Third Eye Blind, I was. Very good. Well, speaking of Carroll County, we're going to talk to somebody from Mount Airy in just a second to wrap up the show. All right. Thanks today to Walt Williams. Thanks to Ken Zalis and to Eric Kolar, who you're about to hear from. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the
Can You Take Me Higher?
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Stan tomorrow. Yes. Could you imagine another day of Drew? Stan tomorrow. Anything?
And then hopefully we'll talk about a big Terps win.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. If you were a loved one is interested in appearing as a guest on Glenn Clark Radio, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Glenn Clark Radio. What is our address? I don't even know what our address is.
8600 LaSalle.
8600 LaSalle Road. We've only been here for
Sweet
5 years or
509.
Get around
Sweet
to
509.
Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Visit Hartford, Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, CIAA Tournament, Brigance Brigade, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costa Sin, MSAA, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go Maryland men, go Maryland women, go UMBC, go Towson. Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. Getting ready for a big lacrosse matchup on Saturday in Baltimore. Eric Kolar from Maryland right here on GCR. Maryland Lacrosse off to a 1-0 start to the season after a very solid win over Richmond. Now they head up here to Baltimore on Saturday to take on Loyola at Ridley Athletic Complex. Our next guest is a Mount Airy native. He is Eric Kolar, and he is with us here on GCR. Eric, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Absolutely, Glenn. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. All right, so you're a menace. You're a nightmare. You are a physical battler. Where did this come from for you? How did young Eric Kolar decide, here's what I want to do with my life? I want to go make life hell for opposing offensive players.
That's funny. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I mean, I think my mentality at the game is definitely to try and be as tough as I can, and then ultimately, like, whoever's going against me, like, I definitely want to make it more of a nightmare for them. Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of, like, the background for me was playing football. I think that always kind of taught me a physical aspect to my game. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a menace? So talk about Will Schaller. That guy is a good, tough dude.
No doubt, dude. That is a really tough dude, man. Like, can you take me through, like, when did you know it was lacrosse for you, and why? Like, what made you fall in love with lacrosse and make you say, hey, that's the path that I really want to continue forward in?
Yeah, I would say, like, I started lacrosse when I was like 5 years old, but I grew up playing football starting in third grade. And I think football was my first love at first, but then by the time I reached 6th, 7th grade, lacrosse, I was fully taken on lacrosse. And I always played football still in high school, but by 8th grade hit, I mean, I think I took my game to the next level, and I'd already in 5th grade said I wanted to play college sports, but really by going to 6th, 7th grade, I was saying that I was going to be a lacrosse player in college. And then ultimately I wanted to play Division I lacrosse. But yeah, I was always set on it. I had some family play, some uncles play college lacrosse, and I grew up going to college lacrosse games, grew up going to Maryland games, some Hopkins games, those are little rivals, had an uncle play there. So, but man, I think it really just the competitive nature kind of like has always drawn me to really just want to go play a Division I sport too.
You bring up Will, right? And like Will obviously is a long pole. Like for you, as a short pole, right? Like what is? Does it take a different level of psychopath? Like does it take a different level of, or was it more fun for you to be more of a defensive midfielder? Did you say like in your heart, like actually I kind of really like the idea, and we've seen you score goals clearly. Like we know that you're capable of doing it. Is there a part of you that's like actually, deep down, I kind of love to be the guy that's scoring 40 goals.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, the transition part of it's awesome. But no, it is definitely tough with the shorty, but I've definitely embraced it. And I honestly, at first coming in, like who I got like to really embrace it from was guys like Roman Puglisi, Jake Higgins, Dante, playing with him my freshman year, Nick Red. Those guys really were part of what helped me embrace the role, and just what freaking players they were, like they were unbelievable, and so influential to my game and stuff like that. Still to this day, I still watch clips of them all the time and try and embrace it. But talking about like a guy like Will Schaller, Colin Burley, Jackson Canfield, having those guys behind me, I mean, it just makes my job a lot easier, and it makes me embrace it because I want to do something for them too, as they're trying to do stuff for me. So, yeah, definitely bounce off each other on that.
That's cool, man. That's really, really cool. So I want to go back to last year. I know you guys have moved on from that, like it's a new season.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened down the stretch last year and how it all came together for your team? Was there a part of you that said, like, well, one, where was this? Like, why were? But like, was it part of you that when it got to the end of the season, you said, okay, if this is what we did now, like we know, and I know it's not the entire group back, including some key guys, but we know this is what we're capable of doing, and this is the expectation we have going into next year.
Yeah, we, starting with that Princeton game, like Jesse Bernhardt, he's a master class at his game. He's the best defensive coach. He's so smart. He knows his players, so he knows us. He knows what we can do, and just the plans he put out for that, and we were able to execute, which was really cool to see. But man, starting with the Princeton game, like after that, like we were just like we can do whatever it takes. Yeah. We can do whatever. We can go all the way, and that really just after putting on a performance like that, it really took our motivation and riding off a hot Luke Weirman and Logan McNaney. Man, we took in the Duke full head of steam. We were like, we can beat anybody, and then went to Duke and then Virginia, and obviously a tough one at Notre Dame. But we were very motivated, and I just felt like we had an extra like sort of boost after that Princeton game. So,
I mean, it paid off, right? Like,
yeah.
I know you guys would have liked to have won the last one. Like, I understand that, but still, It was a hell of a run. We're chatting with Eric Kolar, Maryland, coming to play Loyola Saturday here at Ridley Athletic Complex in Baltimore. You mentioned, of course, those two key guys who were both brilliant. I know Logan's back this year, but Luke being gone. The guys that you saw, and Sean and Shay on Saturday, the job that they did, how confident do you kind of find yourself saying, like, yeah, maybe they're not Luke because, like, Luke's one of one, but, like, we're going to be okay in that department?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have my full confidence in them. Playing a whole fall with those guys, playing all of last year with those guys, like, in the fall and then even the spring just practice and stuff like that, like those are my guys. I wouldn't trade them for the world. Like the guys that we have, I will go to battle with. I wouldn't trade a single dude. And yeah, Luke Weirman, he was one of a kind. He's one of the best face-off guys to ever play the game. And you could ask Luke who he's confident in. He would tell you those guys too. And I'm ready to roll out with them any day of the week against anybody. So I don't. Yeah, those are my guys.
I mean, look, obviously the guys got the job done and set the tone clearly in what was an emphatic win.
Yes, sir, yeah.
These early season games, like knowing that you guys intend to be playing deep into the year. I'll even bring it up, right? Like the last time, and I know you weren't a big part of the team at that point, but like the last time you guys played at Loyola a couple years ago, and it didn't go your way. Is it ever tough when you're a Maryland lacrosse player to be as up for February games? Do you have to go rally the guys a little bit more and say like, hey, we want to be up for these games too? Do you have to do a little bit of that because we know the focus is so much on May and winning national championships there?
Yeah, I think we actually do a really good job here of like getting up for no matter who we're playing against. Like whether it was like 2 years going to play Albany, going to play Loyola, like whoever it is, because I think also like whoever coach is putting on our schedule is usually always good. That's like why I always say we have like the hardest schedule, and coaches do such a good job at that. We get after each other in practice, and our scout guys do such a good job at replicating the other teams like that and getting after us, chirping us, like all the stuff to be ready for that. And then you just go into those games like so prepared and just like almost like angry. Like that's always been like kind of the mentality, just going to those games to be just angry and ready to play. Like you battle all week and then you're prepared for this. I mean, I've always thought our guys do such a great job at getting up for it. We have such good leaders who get us up for those games no matter what. Like, and we all do a good job at finding it.
This is the way lacrosse is still. I don't want to say a small world, but there's still everybody's connected to everybody. So every time you guys play, I'm sure there's somebody that's like, oh yeah, I've known that guy for forever. Who is it like on Saturday that when you see him or when you're up against him, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's my guy. I owe him one or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's too many. I know. I mean, some of they have some good players like Minikis. That's one name I know who's a great player for them. Just because he had all his PLL brothers too. That's how I remember them too. Like
that's a great point.
He's a phenomenal player. But that team as a whole, they're so well coached every single year. Battling against Loyola, like a neighboring school, like it's going to be a blast. Like I'm fired up to go up and play there again. Ridley's such an awesome complex, such a great field.
It's going to be a mob scene on Saturday too, right? Like, and I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's different because you guys get plenty of fans, but obviously, it's a little bit different because the stadium's so big. Like this place on Saturday, I know there's some weather in the forecast, but like it'll be standing room only. Like that place will be insane on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. They get a really good crowd. I think they do a great job at backing up their lacrosse teams, both women's and men's, and that's cool. They have that spirit, and it makes it even more exciting for us. Talk about getting up for a game, man. Like going into some enemy territory like that, nothing better than that.
All right, so with all of that said, I got to know a little bit more about your path because you took a little bit of the scenic route, right? Like the path from Mount Airy, Urbana, to then spending that time at the Hill School and like that program just being what it is. What did that do for you to elevate you for being ready to play, at the top of the sport when you go to a place like Maryland?
Yeah, no, I owe that place all the world. I owe those teachers, the people that took care of me, like being a post-grad there. They, you're not treated much different than other students, but like you are like a post-grad, so like you do have a little bit of a different schedule, but I was able to work out, play lacrosse every single day. They knew that I would get my school done, and then I could go and do that. The gym would be open, and playing with Will Schaller there, Mark McKeon, Hayden Fruling, guys like Harry Winter, AJ Max, who's at UPenn, like guys like that to elevate my game. And so playing new guys like that every single day in practice, that just made me the player I am today. And then Coach Page ultimately just helping me like. And what I say, like you go from public school to a school like that, it is definitely like a little tougher on you. You got to be a little bit tougher about it because like public school is a lot different than boarding school.
Yeah.
And my first year away, so man, I owe that place the world because I would not be the person I am if it didn't happen like this. So
That's really cool, man. That's really cool the way that it worked out for you. I got to know, I know you're a communication major. Like, are you trying to do this? Is like this part of the plan for you moving forward?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm so open right now to figure out what I want to do. I love talking to people. I love being around people. I'm definitely a people person. I think all my roommates here are very people as well, but they would also say that I am too. We'll see. I'm very open to many different things. Just like I said, I love being around people.
I mean, dude, you got the ability just with this conversation. I can tell, like, you have the ability to do something like this with this. Cool. All right, so now here's the problem that we have to deal with. So you're from Mount Airy, and that, of course, is like that's territory where like you can kind of go either way. And some people out there might be a little more associated with Baltimore teams. You've gone the other way. So now we have to fight about which one of us gets to have Dante Trader moving forward. Now we got to fight about. Because you brought him up earlier, and he's going to hear his name called. He's a damn good player. I'm not okay with the idea. It can't be with the Commanders. He has to be putting purple on. That's just got to be the way that it's got to go, man. I'm sorry.
You already got Bo Braid. We
love that dude. That dude's a great dude. What a great dude he is, man.
Beast.
He's the best.
Absolute animal.
Yeah, that dude. How good is how excited are you for him? And just knowing like he's doing this, like it's happening for him. He's living out his dream.
Yeah, he talk about a guy that's been influential and just helping me and our D-mid crew with our footwork and stuff like that, like ever since freshman year. And then sophomore year last year, I would send him clips of like practice and stuff like that. He would give me tips and stuff like that. And then just such a personal dude, just asking about how life is. He's such a good friend, and that's what people don't. I mean, you don't always get to see that when you see superstars like him, because he is going to be a superstar. He has the work ethic. He is the person for that. He's such a leader too. Like that's not always seen, but he's a hell of a leader, heck of a dude. He's going to have his name called up that board, and I'm so excited for him. And I know everybody here is, because everybody has his back because what he's done for us just in that 1 year, like. You can't beat a dude like Dante Trader, man. Like, you actually can't beat a dude like him, and then you can't beat being around a guy like him,
Yeah, he's the best, man. He's a really good dude. And right? Yeah. All of a sudden, we're going to have to start talking about, like, the pipeline from Maryland Lacrosse to the NFL. Like, we're going to have that conversation because it will officially be multiple, 3 guys at that point that have made that path from Maryland Lacrosse to the NFL.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Hey, it's pretty dang cool. Maryland Lacrosse, man. Can't beat it.
Right? That's wild, dude. Hey, Eric, what can we plug for you? Where can Maryland fans be giving you a follow?
On my Instagram, Eric Kolar 36.
Eric Kolar 36. That's the place to follow him. Eric, looking forward to seeing you Saturday up here in Baltimore. Best of luck throughout the course of the season, man. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us this morning. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for